What I learned in 2023. Lessons I learned in 2023 was not to put my worth and value based on what I do. That's been a really big lesson for me. For those of you that don't know, I have background in being a 7-figure business owner. And last year was one of the roughest years of my life. Like, I thought 2022 was bad, a little bit, right? But 2023, baby, oh my God, get her out of here, okay? So in 2023, or 2022, I had opened up a warehouse. I had hired employees. And, I was really scaling my business, like really scaling, spending a lot of money. And it just wasn't working. Like at one point, things were not the same. Ads were not the same. The way I advertised was not bringing in the same amount of revenue that I was used to bringing. And at some point, I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Because it's just like, I'm doing the stuff, I'm spending the money, I'm spending even more money, but I'm not getting the same sales like I used to get. So it was really rough because last year I closed down my warehouse. I let go of at least 3 employees. I cried about it. I was really sad about it. And I felt like a fucking failure. I felt like a failure as a business owner because it's like, if you're doing good, then you're doing good. So you feel on top of the world. Sales are good, you feel on top of the world. Sales are bad, oof. You're like, what's going on? So there's a lot of worth and value in the amount of money you make and your title. And my title was CEO of a 7-figure business, right? And I'm young. That was when I was still in my 20s, okay? I'm 31 now, still young. And yeah, I use my Yoni wash as my eyelash wash. Oh, my camera fell. But yeah, if sales were going down, then I would feel bad because I had put my value in being a young 7-figure entrepreneur, right? So if I wasn't bringing in the same amount of revenue, then I had to figure out, well, who am I? Because, my moods would change based on the money that I would make. And so if I wasn't making as much money, then I would be sad and depressed about it. I mean, who wouldn't be sad about having to let go of employees and a whole warehouse? So yeah, I had to find things that brought me joy that were outside of my business. And I think that was something I learned. So I learned to not put my worth and value in my title and in what I do. But I also had to learn to find joy in things outside of my business. And these were the little joys of life, y'all. This was going to the park. This was walking my dog. This was watching my Korean dramas, hanging out with friends, going out to dinner. Things that just made life enjoyable. Like who am I outside of my title, outside of my business? Like, how can I still enjoy life, right? And there may be some of y'all in the position where you're just like, oh, well, how can you enjoy life when you have bills to pay and stresses? That's tough, right? But I do think that there's a way to still enjoy life. You got to find the little things, because when you find the little things, then you're able to make those little things bigger things in the future, right? I know that sometimes our circumstances are so pressing and so in our faces, but find the little things. If it's going to the park for free, if it's just taking a walk outside, if it's like reading a book, like it's the little things that bring life, Sometimes I can go out the country to what America deems as third world countries, and people may not have a lot materially, but one thing they are is happy. They are outside, they have community, there's nature, and that is the abundance of life. And so for me, I also had to learn, like, what are the other abundances of life that have nothing to do with money? Nothing to do with money. And I started doing more of those things. I started recognizing more of those things. And so as my other business was a shit show, it just helped me to figure out myself a lot more. I also learned what I actually want out of a business and my life. I don't think I want to be a typical CEO, guys, at all. I know that I have, you know, my new business, which is great, but I'm running it in a way that still brings me freedom, because ultimately the reason I started a business is for freedom, period. I did not start a business to be a slave to my business, to be a slave to my title. And so I just don't live that life anymore, okay? I've realized I can make less money. This is my tongue cleaner. I can make less money than I was and be way more happier. I have a lot more time to myself. I work less. I don't want to show you that. I work less. So even though 2023 was a shit show and one of the most depressing years of my life, I will be very honest about that. One of the most depressing years of my life, I am seeing grace on the other side, and a lot of my values have changed, and I am a lot more happier now than I was before, and I am grateful for that. So I will say, I did not like the storms of 2023, but am I feeling a deep sense of gratitude to where my life is now? I am. So those would be my lessons learned for 2023. Not putting my value in my title, or my worth in my title as being a CEO. Finding things outside of my title that bring me joy. And also recognizing the true abundance of life. What does that look like, you know? The true abundance of life outside of money. What does that look like for me? And so now I am ready for 2024. I think 2024 is going to be a completely different year, and I am excited for it. What about y'all? What did you learn in 2023? Comment below. XOXO. Selfish Babe.